You guys know that there's a lot of opinions out there, and you guys know that only mine is correct. A lot of people can say, oh, yeah, well, I got a bachelor's degree in this, but at the end of the day, if it's not my opinion, then why bother listening to other opinions? Because, okay, opinions are subjective, but mine is correct. So a lot of people have asked me for like 3 months now, from time to time, which streaming service is better when it comes to anime. And while I cannot actually respond to that question, I've decided to create this video. And if you guys like it, then I can create others like that, in which I give you two streaming services and show you a couple of the exclusive animes that those streaming services have, and just kind of tell you a little bit about them and see if it's completely up your alley or not. So, with that said, let's just compare the most famous ones right now, Crunchyroll and High Dive. Obviously, the exclusives that I'm going to show you are not necessarily all of them. They're just the ones that I happen to be familiar with and I have watched, and there's a reason why I would recommend you watching them. So, let's begin with just five recommendations and one or two honorary mentions. So let's begin with Crunchyroll. All right, let's begin with Crunchyroll, and one of the first exclusives that comes to mind, and obviously I can tell you all about the Demon Slayer, One Piece, and all that shit, but I want to give you something that is a little bit more real. And with that, I present to you My Home Hero. My Home Hero is the story of what happens when a dad goes, like, wants to protect his daughter from a gang member. And this is a very like real anime, very very grounded in reality. There's no Taken going on where he goes Liam Neeson. No, he's just a regular ass dude trying to protect his family. It's very good. It's kind of like this little mystery. So I highly recommend it. Then let's say that you don't want something this dark. Another one I would recommend is My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999, where we see the story of whatever her name is that I just totally forgot. Uh Kanekishi, something like that. Um, this girl who falls for this guy, and this guy kind of falls for her too, and we see how they come to accept their personalities, because he, as you can tell, is very cold, very collected, and she is very outgoing, very extroverted, very bombastic, the complete opposite. If you liked My Dress Up Darling and you're waiting on season 2, this is going to be the one to watch before before we get the season 2 of My Dress Up Darling. And we have the absolute duo where the guy is a little bit socially awkward and cold, doesn't really know how to communicate his feelings, and then we have this bombastic girl who will bring the shine out of him. Then if you're still into that kind of romantic idea and you want to have a good time, I would recommend one that is very similar. If you like My Dress Up Darling and you like this one, you're definitely gonna like Love After World Domination. This is the story of this Power Rangers looking ass dudes fighting the evil organization, and this girl who happens to take the place of like Rita Repulsa of the original Power Rangers. She is in love with the Red Ranger, and they have cute dates, and they're like super adorable together. I had a super fun time watching this thing. I really liked it, even though, like, this is more like a slice of life where you just get to see the relationship and how they handle it. I really liked it. So if you liked My Dress Up Darling and My Love Story with Yamada-kun, definitely Love After World Domination would be one that you would be just having the same amount of blasts. Now, if you just want to have a good time, but also like be completely impressed with music and animation that can rival Demon Slayer, and I'll tell you why, is Bocce the Rock. Bocce the Rock is another Crunchyroll exclusive that completely um, slapped me in the face with great characters and fantastic way of conveying the animation. Now, the anime is very different in a way than the manga, because the manga is more fan pleasing, if you know what I mean, and the anime focuses more on the personality of the girls and how they deal with being socially awkward and having social anxiety. But she wants to play the guitar for people, so obviously those things don't go hand in hand. And the way they show their progression, it's just super fun. Very short series, and I really 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 liked it, and I'm pretty sure anyone would too, because the comedy is on point. Let me tell you, the comedy is on point. Now let's go with the obvious, especially coming from me. Crunchyroll exclusive, Attack on Titan. Fantastic story, lots of action, incredible world building. There's not many people that I think that watch this channel or any anime channel per se that doesn't know Attack on Titan. But if you don't know it, you should. In my opinion, it is the best anime that we've ever had. For me, it's like kind of the Lord of the Rings for anime in terms of world building, writing, characters. It's just a world. But binge it. Do not go one episode at a time. Binge the shit out of it. You'll appreciate it better. Another one that is pretty obvious, and I think my bias is showing with the type of animes that I like to watch, is Kaguya-sama, or Love is War. This is probably the best romantic comedy that I've ever seen, by the creator of Oshinoko, Akasaka, Akasaka. We get this romance story between this awkward teenagers that are in this prestigious school. But what's interesting is how lovable the characters are, how fun it is to watch them grow and battle their own things. They have such distinct personalities, and usually in romantic comedies, you just kind of watch them go through funny stuff and just have a good time and see their relationship grow. Here, it's not about the relationship, it's about them. And the focus is on the characters and the growth of the characters, which I find amazingly great. So, highly recommend Kaguya Sama Love is War. And lastly, it's not only a Crunchyroll exclusive, but also a Crunchyroll original, and that is Licorice Recoil. Licorice Recoil is a very interesting series that deals with kind of what it is to be a person, because we have these little girls that are trained to be this secret assassin organization to protect the media, and I mean the Japanese public, from things going bad. Like, the Japanese public think that there's no crimes or anything, but it's because they take care of it in the shadows. So what happens when mistakes happen, and then you have to confront kind of your own morals, for the sake of the public or for the sake of your own feelings. It's interesting. I really liked it. I was not expecting much of it, but I really 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 enjoyed this series, and I'm super happy that I watched it. So those are the Crunchyroll exclusives that I recommend. Now let's go with High Dive. Starting off with High Dive, one series that I mean, I'm not necessarily a super huge isekai fan, but uh what I've seen of this series, I haven't finished it yet. What I've seen, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun, pretty it's kind of etchy in a couple of instances, but I really liked it. And that is it wrong to pick to try to pick up girls in a dungeon. Um, I mean, it's an isekai, and you get your protagonist in quirky situations trying to do the isekai thing. Pretty much it. And he's obviously trying to get a girlfriend and all that stuff. So if you like isekais, you're gonna like this one. Think of it as a weird mix of um, Konosuba and um, I would say maybe Yamara-kun. Yeah, that's a good mix. Another one that I recommend, and damn, it's showing that it's my Mexican side of romantic soap opera origins is showing up right now. The next one that I would recommend is Insomniacs After School. This is definitely way more of a slice of life. You get to see the relationship between these two students happening, developing, and just seeing them in cute as fuck moments. This type of series doesn't revolve around necessarily a progressive story, but more as how many cute as fuck moments you can have. And this series has a lot of them. So if you like romance, this is the one to go. Now, if you like horror, let's go into horror. Because another exclusive from High Dive is The Dark Gathering. The Dark Gathering is this creepy fucking story about this little girl who can see ghosts, and she's obsessed with just making them fear her. She puts the fear of God into the ghost. She makes them wish they were dead again, and it's a very interesting anime. Very scary, honestly, but quirky as well. So you get to have fun with them, as well as being terrified and pissing your pants. So if you like horror and still want to have a little bit of fun, The Dark Gathering is fantastic. Absolutely. Now let's go into silliness. An absolute silly. When it comes to reboots, we have the reboot of Urusei Yatsura, which is one of the original waifus. If you remember that time from the 50s, this was one of the original animes that we got. It was pretty intense at the time to see a cute girl with blue hair and in a leopard bikini. So she became immediately one of the original waifus, and we had a reboot now that really tried to preserve the style of drawing of the 60s, 70s. And sorry, I said 50s at the beginning, but no, 60s and 70s. But obviously you can see that even though she has the face of that style of that period of time, the coloring and the shading is very different and gives it more of this modern pastel look. The story is this guy who is the absolute fucking worst um, horny teenager that wants a girl, and this chick, for whatever reason, happens to fall in love with him. Well, there is a reason, but I'm not going to spoil it for you. And she's just devoted, and then we get to see like this duo trying to get into quirky situations. It's fun. It's innocent, but you will absolutely love every single character except the protagonist. The protagonist can suck a dick. He's the absolute worst. But everyone else is really good, and I enjoy the series enough. But yeah, if you thought that Rent a Girlfriend had a bad protagonist, you are in for a treat with this one. But Loom, that's her name, Loom. She is the absolute best, and I love her. She's waifu. Another one that you probably have heard me talk about quite often is Yaboy Kongmen. Yaboy Kongmen is the story of this military genius who happens to wake up from his death into modern day Japan, and he decides to use his intellect and military strategy to help Echo, this beautiful girl, achieve her dreams to become a very popular singer. We get to see fantastic music, great animation, as well as very, very, very fun comedy. This is not a romance, by the way. This is just um, kind of like a buddy cop type of thing. There's no romance in this series. It's just developing the characters, and it's about the love for music. This series is an homage to music and where it comes from and how it can develop and affect the life of others, especially coming from a guy that dedicated his intellect to win wars at the expense of killing a lot of people. Now he wants to unify the world through music. I just find that to be like really, really, really endearing, especially coming from a musician like myself. Another one that I have never shut up about is Akiva Made War. What happens when you mix John Wick with cute ass mates? Well, you get this type of images as well as this type of images. I mean, what can you say? How can you deny that? One of the best waifus is also there. You probably cannot see, but I have those two over there, little acrylic figures, because they haven't even released figures for them. Otherwise, I would have absolutely jumped on getting them. A lot of action, and a lot of cuteness from the Oinky Donk Cafe, because they're pigs. I'm not joking. They're supposed to be pigs. And last one, it's another fucking romance. This has been just a romance galore recommendation. Call of the Night. Call of the Night is one of the most beautiful animes I think I've ever seen. Like legit, it's so beautiful to look at. The colors are this mix of blues and purples, and it's just neon. Because this is what happens when you get a guy who can't sleep and goes out into the streets at night to find some sort of solace, some sort of meaning, and he finds a very cute vampire who shows him kind of what the night is all about, and both of them get to learn from each other. One learns that gives life doesn't give you a meaning, you give a meaning to life. And she learns that being bored is not necessarily a a obligation, but just kind of a decision. And we get to see these two characters not just necessarily be their typical stereotypes of, oh, he's the broody guy who's just kind of cold and she's the bombastic type. Here we get to see that they follow that type, but because they try to be that type, because they think the other wants them to be that type, but in reality they're not. And we get to see a very human side of them, and you get to experience also very good action as well as just striking visuals. Anyways, those have been my recommendations for Crunchyroll and High Dive. If you would like to get more recommendations like that from other streaming services such as Netflix, Amazon, and whatever the case may be, let me know and I'll do another list. Or if you want more from High Dive and Crunchyroll, let me know, and I'll tell you. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what animes have you seen or not seen or are interested in from this video. Thank you, and I'll see you later. Bye.